Hello and welcome, and thanks for joining us. I am here with State Senator Ken Donnelly, who represents Arlington and a number of surrounding communities. And Ken has come in to talk to us today, kindly come in to talk to us today, about a number of issues that affect Arlingtonians directly. So Ken, thanks.
James, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time. We're going to start with Minuteman, the situation with Minuteman Regional High School.
I've been a tremendous supporter of vocational training, and especially dealing with the skills gap to make sure that we're educating our children for the jobs of the future. But Arlington is in a very, very difficult position. It is a bad deal for Arlington, and the regional agreement has to be fixed. When you have a community like Arlington that probably sends about a third of the school-age population to Minuteman, getting one vote of the 16 communities, that's unacceptable. Mass Building Assistance has approved a school for around 640 students or thereabouts. Right now, in district, there's a little over 400. That means that there are over 200 students that would be coming from out of the district. Unless the state helps with that funding for those 200 students, Arlington will have to pick up a third of that cost to build a school for out-of-district students. And Arlington cannot afford to ask the taxpayers to pick up that cost when we need to rebuild a high school. Back, I went to Arlington High School, and I know that the A building back then, I think, was built in the 20s. So we need to do something, and we're going to be spending a lot of money in the schools. So the state needs to pick up, and two things need to happen. We need to get a better regional agreement, and two, we need to figure out a way to pick up the cost for those out-of-district students. I have 5 communities: Arlington, Lexington, Burlington, Billerica, and Woburn. And I always say that the most challenged is Arlington. And people are surprised when I say that, because they think of Arlington as being very affluent. But the Arlington's tax base is based on 95% residential. And the other communities have a really large business base. They have land, they have a really strong business. We don't have that. We were built out back in the 20s. And we have little spots of land here and there, but nothing to build an industrial base or a business base that would alleviate some of their problems. So as a result, we have to look at the residential tax base. And there's a limit. It's a battle that when we talk about local aid, the formula, I support any formula that includes a provision that looks at Arlington's inability to be able to grow in ways that the way we realize that they have to grow, and they don't have the capabilities of doing that. So even though the income has grown, the ability to raise revenues from other sources has not. Mm-hmm. And so that's a real challenge.
One of those small parcels of land about which there are very strong opinions is the Mugar property.
I absolutely oppose building on the Mugar property. If you think about, taking a piece of land that right now is permeating the water, if you're listening to the people that want to design this, they're going to push this water in other areas. Well, I think it's going to be the neighbors that are going to get it, but if they do push it under Route 2 and put it into the Alewife, when it gets down to Mystics, it can't go anywhere, and it's going to flood Sunnyside. The only way we're going to make affordable housing in that area, I saw this with my own eyes, is to flood and make it inhabitable for many of the people in the town. I think that that area is, for environmental reasons, should be left unbuilt upon. I think that it's a critical area, and I think that it's too bad that the state hadn't stepped up to do something about that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you.
For State Senator Ken Donnelly, and on behalf of Arlington Public News and Arlington Community Media, this is James Milan, and thanks for joining us.